Good Sunday evening, everybody. We're going to be going live in 6 minutes at 8 p.m. Eastern on the dot. So if you are watching the recorded version, 6 minutes in is when we will begin. Hello, Samir. Yes, this will be recorded and put on YouTube. We're also going to give away some ETH. So once the recorded video is up, if everybody wants to post their address for ETH, we're going to pick someone random and send some ETH that way. Bitcoin all-time high, certainly a eventful day for the market. And I know this is certainly a crypto broadcast, but just want to mention, as I do in other videos, that I'm definitely interested in the Canadian MJ sector as well. And we just had huge news over the weekend where Constellation, which is a large, big-time alcoholic beverage company listed on a Fortune 500 company, just took a 9.9% stake in Canopy, which is the lead Canadian MJ name. So there's going to be big-time gains tomorrow morning in the sector. But we're concerned with the big-time gains in cryptocurrency that are occurring today as Bitcoin hits new all-time highs. We had bullish moves in ETH and LTC. So just waiting a couple more minutes before we get going, and we're going to be looking at, here's the outline, just some notes initially, then some recent updates with the crypto alert system. Then we're going to go over the 5 new indicators we're adding to the system. And then we'll do the usual big 3 analysis, and then I'm going to look at all these altcoins here listed: BTC, OMG, BCH, CVC, and IOTA. And we are also going to have 50% off the first month discounts for a bunch of people for the alert system. So if you want to bring up crypto.chartguys.com and have that ready, because we're going to be giving away 10 of those, and once 10 get used up, they are no longer valid. So we'll give that discount code in just a bit once we get going. And today was actually the first day that I've traded all 3 of the big 3, Ethereum, Litecoin, and Bitcoin, at different points throughout the morning and afternoon. So that tells you that the action and volume is back in all 3 of them. Howdy, Peter. I was just about to say howdy before you said it to me. Thought about singing a song while we get going, but we'll hold that for another time. We'll cover Bitcoin, Ethereum, Litecoin. We'll cover it all here. Just going to go through some updates to the alert system we got, and then we'll go to that normal technical analysis that we do so often. As far as Ethereum codes, you guys don't bother putting them in the YouTube chat. That's not where we're going to find our random person. It's going to be once this video is uploaded, the comments on the actual YouTube video, we're going to choose from there. So you will put your Ethereum addresses on the recorded video, and I'm not going to select for 24 hours, so there'll be plenty of time for you to enter your Ethereum address just in the comments of that YouTube video. And it's going to be an ETH address you want to post. Also going to be doing a little chat with Nuggets. If you guys know Nuggets News, another YouTube channel more focused on fundamental analysis from Australia, he and I are going to be doing a little dual webcam chat sometime early this week, and we'll be posting that later this week. A little bit of a discussion of fundamentals versus technicals, as I'm vast majority technicals and he's vast majority fundamentals, but certainly working together in the space. So just about 8 p.m. Eastern here, and we are thankful for you joining us all on your Sunday night. So again, this is the rundown of what we're going to be going through, some notes, recent updates to the crypto.chartguys.com alert system that we've got going. We've got 5 new indicators, and we're really upping the game in terms of the functionality of the alert system and really the usefulness and what it can signal. Then we're going to go over the usual big 3 analysis, and then I'm going to dive into these altcoins to see what's going on there, as there's some nice setups going on in some of these names. So let's get right into it. Some notes initially. With the crypto alert system, whenever we have exchanges that go down, Coinbase just did this the other night, that does throw off the crypto alert system because there's a disruption in the data that we receive sending out those alerts. So keep an eye on whether your exchange is going down for maintenance, because there, for a brief period of time, we do have some discrepancy on the alert system due to that. We also have a new payment option for our crypto course. We do accept Bitcoin, and that is accessible through the website. We're going to be giving away a couple 0.1 free ETHs when you comment again on the recorded video, not in the YouTube chat right now. So once the recorded video is uploaded, if you post your ETH address, we're going to randomly select a few people to give some ETH to. And later on, we have 50% off discounts for the first month of your subscription, and we're going to give those codes at the end as well to be looking at. So pairings that we support on the alert system, again, just an update as we are constantly adding to the alert system. We've got GDAX, Bitfinex, Bittrex, and Kraken. We've got USDT pairs, we've got Euro pairs, we've got USD pairs. So definitely something that we are constantly adding to, and it's something that we always want feedback on. So if you are an exchange that is not supported and you see a pairing that's not supported on your exchange, things like that, we want to hear from you. I read every single comment on every YouTube video that I put out, and I respond to most of them. So by all means, give your feedback, because that's what we're looking for in terms of trying to provide the best service. So exchange and pairings that you are interested in, we will add them to the system. So recent updates that we do have going, we are changing, no longer doing SMS alerts, but we're doing Telegram. And what that does is it allows us to do unlimited alerts. So we had to limit SMS because we had some people selecting every single alert possible and really driving up costs significantly and unfairly to people who weren't abusing the system. But now that we're using Telegram, that it's unlimited alerts for both basic and premium subscriptions, so you can check everything. If you want, if you want to be alerted every 10 seconds, that's fine. And there are certainly lots of alerts to go out on days like today. We're also changing it for more customization. Right now, if you use the system, we have the RSI and the MACD alert, and you get signals for both, crosses over 70 and crosses of 30, indicating both overbought and oversold conditions. But we're making it more customizable, so you can choose, I only want alerts for bull MACD crosses or bear MACD crosses or RSI over 70. So just giving more options in what you can select to get alerted on. We're putting out description, little educational videos for each indicator that we have now, which will be a grand total of 8 after these 5 get released, and just a little bit of information and how we use the indicators and how you can act on those alerts, and the 5 new indicators that we're going to be adding and going over here for premium subscribers. So the 5 new indicators, 2 of them are proprietary, meaning we created the equation that gets signaled here. So we're starting off with price shear, which I think is, for me personally, it's the one I'm most excited about because it has provided the most significant opportunity for gains just on that alert alone. And we'll go into in-depth what it is made up of. But the price shear alert, really excited about continuing to play with that. We've already been playing it with it for weeks at this point. We have another one called the TCG Cross, standing for the chart guys. We'll go over what that is. We're going to have an arbitrage alert, and we've had members in the past acting on arbitrage, and there was an opportunity today that a member pointed out with BCH where there was a 5% spread, a 5% difference between one exchange and the other, and we did have people transferring from one exchange to the other to lock in that profit. Golden cross and death cross, you may have heard of that. We'll go over what that is, and then psychological levels will be an indicator as well. So starting it right off, the price shear indicator. Essentially, it's triggered when the price of a cryptocurrency moves a certain percent away from a moving average. So it's showing a spike in volatility. If you have a fairly stable price, like we saw in ETH today, we'll go over that chart a little bit later, but when you have a pretty stable price, the moving average line flattens out, or it stops its significant slopes. And then when you see the price spike up or down, it significantly moves away from a moving average that we have selected that we find best represents these breakout moves and breakdown moves. And so these price shear indicators are pretty much a heads up. Hey, there's a move going on, action, things you're picking up, get to your computer and act on it. And the 15-minute time frame is the shortest time frame in terms of a signal that we feel is like a get on and buy now signal. The 30-minute time frame going off for the price shear alert then confirms that the 15-minute saw follow through. And for the longer term time frames, those are certainly still useful, the hourly, the 4-hour, and the daily, giving you those price shear signals, but it's not something you want to just go on and blindly buy. You would want to go on and look at the chart, make sure that we are not overbought on the short-term time frames, and ideally wait for some consolidation if we are, because the 15-minute time frame is the time frame that you want to be using, in my opinion, because again, it signals these breakouts very early on, and we had a bunch of them coming in on ETH today. And I have some examples from ETH, the last breakout we saw a few days ago. But even today, these alerts were going off and giving plenty of opportunity for entry. So here was the breakout that we saw a few days ago where we went from 282 all the way up to 310. And we did it in a very short amount of time. It was just an explosion of volume out of nowhere. And so the alert signaled at about the 292 range. This is when the price shear alert went off. And next thing you know, 20 minutes later, the price is up in the 306, 307 range. So it was an opportunity to capitalize on a $15 bull move where if you're not at your computer, it's saying, okay, things were pretty flat. There wasn't a lot going on. And then we had a huge spike in volume and price movement. That's when the price shear alert comes out. And again, it's pretty much the biggest wake-up call in terms of get on your computer and act on this now. And then the 30-minute shear went off as far as confirmation and follow through. And then we saw an uptrend up into the 311 and 312 range from there. So even on the 30-minute time frame, there was still another $12, $13 to be had in the short term acting on that signal. But obviously the 15-minute time frame was the one to act on ideally. The sooner the better. Here's some more examples where the 15-minute shear was signaled for bear moves. So if you want to be playing bearish, obviously you can use that signal. But even if you want to play bullish, getting a bear shear signal tells you that there's a dump going on. And we are falling rapidly in the short term. And that can tell you, get on. It's almost a heads up. We have the RSI indicator telling us when the RSI is oversold. But if you get a 15-minute price shear for the bears and we haven't gotten an RSI indicator yet, it's almost like a precursor, a heads up that we're going to see oversold RSI levels shortly. And then we would get that RSI indication and the alert shortly after the price shear. So again, here's another bull move and big time follow through. This is on Bitcoin here. So this 15-minute price shear went off on Bitcoin at about 5,800. And next thing you know, an hour later, we're up at 5,900 essentially. So these signals, again, I'm most excited about the price shear. It's been the most useful for us in the past 2 weeks. And for ETH today, it was firing off all kinds of signals under 300. And then we shot up into the 310 range is where we topped out. Next one is the TCG Cross. We've been using this signal for stocks for a couple of years at this point. And it's shorter term exponential moving averages, and they cross to indicate changes in momentum. So it's almost like the MACD cross, when the MACD crosses and it signals a change in the trend for the bulls or a change in the trend for the bears. But the EMA's crossing, they occur a lot sooner. So it's almost like a heads up before the MACD crosses. And in some instances, it'll happen way before the MACD crosses. So we use the exponential moving averages because they are reactive to the shorter term time frames. A simple moving average reacts slower. So we want the exponential moving averages to tell us when these changes in momentum are happening sooner, and when the shorter term time frame crosses the longer term time frame to the upside, we know that that's a bull move, and when it crosses to the downside, we know that that's a bear move. So when we get an alert that a TCG cross is going off, that tells us there's a shift in momentum. And it can also tell us when there's choppy sideways action. If we're getting a bull alert and then a bear alert, that tells us the moving averages are crossing each other, pretty rapidly in a sideways trading channel. That can tell us that we're consolidating tightly. And if I were to get, let's say I were to get TCG cross alerts a bull cross and then shortly after a bear cross, I know we're trading sideways. And then if I get a price shear alert shortly after that, that tells me that we are breaking out of a tight range and that the volume and the volatility is coming in behind it. So here's an example of these TCG crosses with these exponential moving averages signaling a bull cross. This is the 4-hour time frame for Litecoin, and it gave us a bull cross, and we followed through with very significant gains. We went from, this is actually the daily chart, we went from $50 all the way up to 68, and then we traded sideways, and we got the bear cross as we broke down, and it would have prevented a move from $64 all the way down to $53. So both bull and bear crosses giving changes in momentum and doing so in conjunction with the MACD, but oftentimes occurring sooner. Arbitrage, this is going to be a really useful alert for those that are, very comfortable moving around to different exchanges and capitalizing on the fact that each individual exchange is its own individual market. So we can see that oftentimes, again, today was a perfect example, Bitcoin Cash, there was a 5% spread between two different exchanges. We had people transferring Bitcoin Cash to the different exchange for plus 5% gains, and it definitely takes time to do it, but Litecoin transfers the fastest. We've had members in the chat room signaling arbitrage on Litecoin and making those transfers and capitalizing on it. So again, just to define, it's when one exchange is significantly higher and one exchange is significantly lower, and people buy on the lower exchange, they transfer over to the higher exchange, and if it's done in enough time, it can just pretty much be free money in the sense that the price is higher for the same thing. So just an example, if you're buying potatoes in Florida and the price of potatoes in North Carolina is significantly more, you buy the potatoes in Florida and you ship them up and you drive them up to North Carolina and you sell them for profit for the exact same product. That's pretty much essentially what's going on with this arbitrage alert. And so this is an example of what the alert will tell you. Arbitrage alert, Bitcoin, the spread between GDAX and Kraken is 5.5%. So that tells you to hop on to look at the difference between these exchanges and potentially, buy on one exchange and transfer to the other exchange and capitalize on the discrepancy in the prices. Another one you may have heard of before is the golden cross and the death cross. And these are when we have crosses of moving averages on the longer term timeframes, and they're simple moving averages, so they don't react as quickly. So an example of a golden cross is when the 50-day moving average or 50-period moving average crosses the 200 period to the upside, and a death cross is when it crosses bearish to the downside. So it's not necessarily an act now signal because you can see, the market can see these crosses coming, but it tells you a longer term shift in momentum. And the reason for that is the 50 moving average is more reactive to the shorter term prices. So if it's beginning to curl up, we know there's shorter term bullish action going on, but if the 200 period moving average is still descending and heading down, we know that the shorter term action has not been factored in enough to the longer term moving average to change the slope. So the 200 period is heading down, the 50 period is heading up. That tells us the shorter term action is shifting from being longer term downtrend and now a shorter term uptrend, and vice versa for the bear cross. So this is definitely something to be looking at in terms of the overall picture and longer term trend. We've seen some signals longer term where we had bull crosses on 4-hour time frames of these golden crosses, and they've led to very significant upside. And the bear crosses obviously haven't lasted very long because we are in a very bullish market overall. But once we start getting a little bit more consistency in terms of consolidation and then back to bullish, whereas the weekly chart right now is a rocket ship for Bitcoin, but that's not always going to be the case. We're going to be consolidating on the weekly time frame at some point, and we're going to be able to use these crosses to tell us when the longer term momentum is shifting down and going to tell us when potentially the bullish action is slowing down and the bears are starting to take over, and vice versa. The last one everybody should be familiar with at this point because we talk about them all the time in the videos. We have psychological levels that are going to be alerted. So humans are psychological, or humans are, emotional creatures that place nice round numbers. They just love putting, resistance on 6,000 Bitcoin, on 5,000 Bitcoin. That's why we rejected from 5,000 and 6,000 on all-time highs. And these are very useful indicators when we are at all-time highs because we don't have any previous price history to be going off of. So we have to be watching for psychological levels, as that's all we really have to be going off of, because there is no previous price history. So we have signals now for coins that are $0 to $1 You can get a psychological level every 25 cents, so on and so forth. So Bitcoin would signal every $250, which means we would signal it at 5,500. Today, we would have gotten a bullish alert that Bitcoin crossed 6,000. And if you were watching that cross in 6,000, there was a very easy scalp trade to be had. We'll go over that in just a moment. But a break of 6,000 for Bitcoin was a very easy $200 move. And this signal, the psychological signal, Bitcoin breaking 6,000, would have been a really nice indicator to let us know that we're following through. We also had it for Ethereum this morning, 300 breaking. So 300 breaking sent out a psychological alert, and it told us Ethereum is breaking 300. Next thing we know, we're at 310. So bulls breaking these psychological levels give significant follow through depending on the setup, but more often than not, because of these all-time highs for Bitcoin specifically, these psychological levels do come in handy time and time again. So here is the code for the first 10 people that use it for 50% off the first crypto alert month. And that goes for both the basic subscription or the premium subscription. Again, these new indicators are on the premium subscription, and we've been playing with them for weeks. And the price shear, like I said, is my favorite, but going to start playing around with arbitrage on the faster transfers. Again, you don't want to be using arbitrage on a coin that's going to take, 45 minutes to transfer, because you might lose that edge that you're trying to capitalize on by the time it does hit that other account. But on names like Litecoin that transfer quickly, this is definitely an indicator that can be useful in terms of capitalizing on market discrepancy. So Crypto 50, again, the website is crypto.chartguys.com. Check it out. And certainly the alert system should be paying for itself, in the sense that if you're not getting one alert that you wouldn't have otherwise gotten in a month and making at least $35 or $20 or $35 profit because of that alert, by all means, don't pay for this alert system. That should be paying for itself fairly easily, because all it takes is one alert and $20 or $35 profit, and then it's paid for the month. So we're very comfortable with the pricing in the sense that this alert system should very easily be paying for itself by making you aware of moves that you would not be aware of, because you can't be sitting at the computer 24/7. And always keep giving us feedback, again, in terms of ideas for indicator or exchanges you want or pairings you want. We are going to look forward to continually expand on this alert system, adding more information to the website, more educational resources. Going to be looking to do a little bit more live broadcasts to go over different examples of how the alert played out and how you can utilize these alerts as well. And we appreciate it. So let's get into our normal technical analysis rundown. And we're going to start it off with Big Bull Bitcoin. So in the last video that we did, we actually put out a warning, a cautionary statement. Caution if we break 5,700 for a dump. And obviously we never broke 5,700, which is great for the bulls. So what that did was negate a whole lot of things. It negated the potential bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern. In the video I said, if we break 5,700, the odds of the bearish reversal head and shoulders pattern playing out will significantly increase. And now that we have not, there is no more right shoulder. We have higher highs. So the higher low, higher high pattern on Bitcoin has continued. We have our new base of support at 5,700, which didn't break, 5,708 to be exact, 5,701. And we have new all-time highs. So there was a lot of action to be had in Bitcoin today. Let's first go back and look at how could we have recognized a shift in the trend in terms of being cautious of the break of 5,700, but not missing out on the bull move. And the hourly time frame is the best time frame to see that, in my opinion. So here is our base of support at 5,700 that we were grinding against, and we were forming lower highs. So we had our high, we bounced off 5,700, lower high, bounced just above 5,700, lower high, bounced just above it again, and then we broke the lower highs. So 58.10 was the level for the bulls to break the lower high pattern on the hourly time frame. So the bulls pulled that off, and whenever you break a downtrend from lower highs and lower lows, and you shift it, and you break the lower highs, you then look for the shift in momentum to carry over to higher lows and higher highs, which is exactly what happened. So we broke the lower high pattern. It's not a rocket ship from there, but we've consolidated. We formed a higher low with a bullish reversal doji that confirmed, and then the bull volume took off. So the higher low and higher high played out, and then from there it was just a straight shot towards 6,000. And once 6,000 breaks, think of the psychology of the space. You have a ton of bulls with a ton of money invested in Bitcoin. If they're going to break 6,000 and get within $189 of the all-time high, you better believe they're going to be pushing everything they have to hit that all-time high. So as soon as we broke 6,000 psychological resistance, the odds of the all-time high being hit were significantly increased. And RSI at that point, again, all-time highs means RSI is a lot less meaningful. So this hourly chart gave a nice follow through. Again, the initial bull move, an entry at 58.10 would have been a bull signal. An entry on a break of 58.59 would have been another bull signal. And there were many more bull signals. We had inside bars on the hourly time frame, and actually, technically, it wasn't an inside bar because it broke by 63 cents. But if you look at the 15-minute time frame, we had the breakout, there was consolidation, and we had bull flags and follow through and all kinds of, really, if you missed the initial move, there was plenty of time to get in on consolidation. And even now we're seeing healthy consolidation. So we built a base of support at 53.90. That's now a support level we're looking at on the way down. We followed through with new all-time highs. As soon as we broke 6,000, it was off to the races. And this was a move where you could break 6,000, make an entry, and then make a play off of that, which is what I did personally. I got in on the break of 6,000, started locking in profit in the upper 6,000 range. And then once we broke into the 6,100s, I locked in the rest of my profit, and we ended up going all the way up to just under 6,300, and that's when all the volatility kicked in. If you were watching Bitcoin, we dropped from 6,300 down to 60.65, almost a $240 drop, $235 in minutes. And that's because we broke out and we didn't have bid support following the whole way up. So just like it's thin in terms of a lack of resistance, a lack of coins on the ask, it's also thin on the bid because we're running away here. The price is running away. So that's when we have the opportunity for both the bulls and the bears to see tons of volatility. And just in that 1 15-minute candlestick, we've now been trading within that range for the last few hours. So we look at the hourly time frame and we could say, okay, this is healthy consolidation. And I can call this healthy consolidation because the volume is very low. We have a lower wick right now. This is attempting to be a bullish reversal hammer. We're looking for a higher low to be established on the hourly time frame, just like it was after the initial breakout. We broke out, we consolidated for 3 hours, very healthy, very low volume. Bull volume showed up again. We're looking for the same thing, the 4-hour time frame, inside bar currently forming right now. But if I were looking for an entry in Bitcoin, I would be watching the hourly and the 15-minute. So the 15-minute, I can see resistance of 62.20 and a lower high of 62.08. I'm going to be looking for a break of the lower high pattern on this 15-minute time frame to tell me that consolidation is done and the bulls are ready to head back up towards 6,300. And that's also going to show up once we do break the lower high pattern on the 15-minute time frame. It's going to show up with a bullish reversal candlestick on the hourly, and then the start to confirmation of that candlestick with another green hour and follow through. So we're not there just yet. It's a nice looking hourly candlestick, but the 15-minute time frame, when I look at more details, the bulls haven't done anything to break the lower high pattern. So it's still in healthy consolidation mode, still being patient if not in a position at this point. If you are in a position, we pulled back a decent amount from the highs, about $170, but there are no red flags. There's nothing saying, oh, it's time to lock in that profit. And at this point, the first red flag would be a break of 60.65, and that's that low of that really volatile 15-minute period candlestick we saw. And the next level that I would want to be out if it broke would be 6,000 and then 53.30, or make that 59.30. Another thing to point out, 15-minute volume climax signal to top. Volume climaxes work wonders because they tell us when the most amount of bullish action and bearish action are occurring at the same time. So you reach the top, the bulls use every bit of buying power that they have, and then you see profit taking and shorts jumping on it. That's why there's so much volume at these climaxes at both the bottom of a bounce and the top of a bull move. It's because it's the highest conjunction of both bull and bear volume battling at the same time. So that was a volume climax that we've now been consolidating from for hours. Longer term picture for Bitcoin, bulls have absolutely nothing to worry about. We don't have much details in terms of support on this weekly time frame, so I keep checking in on it, but I'm not really using it much. I'm using the daily time frame, and as long as we keep these higher lows, the bulls have absolutely nothing to worry about. And again, that most recent higher low is 5,700. So I have friends that are not trading, and they're in long-term positions, and I've been moving up my stop levels for them just in my suggestions. If originally it was if 5102 breaks, I would want to be out. Then I moved it up. If 5377 breaks, I would want to be out. And this was a conversation I'm coming to mind with one person just a few days ago, and now that has changed. I would change that level to 57 even. So it's almost like walking up a stop loss with these higher lows, because if we break the higher lows, we know it's a shift in momentum going on. So nothing to worry about for the bulls, in full control, and healthy consolidation currently ongoing. Ethereum has DevCon 3 coming up. That is a conference with some potential hype built in, where we look for potentially bulls buying the rumor and maybe selling the news, but we first have to be watching for buying the rumor. And this conference is Wednesday, so we have a couple more trading days before this conference, and we have some bull action showing up. Here on the daily time frame, we were trading really sideways. It was actually the longest 4-hour consolidation that I can remember seeing on Ethereum. Just straight across, no volume, no action, no trading opportunity. That broke this morning, and that's when we were getting all these alerts firing off. The price shear alert was firing off. The break of 300 psychological alert was firing off, and we saw a big-time follow-through. The clear break as far as technical levels, 397 was the highest price that we saw in this sideways trading. So as soon as 397 broke, that was a signal. You can see the 4-hour increasing bull volume. Look at this MACD. This MACD wasn't giving us any information because it was giving us just cross, bear cross, bull cross, just sideways choppy action until this morning. So we're now pulling back fairly significantly from that high, and a lot of people were looking for a potential cup and handle pattern, and the psychology of this pattern is still here on the 4-hour time frame, where we have our high of resistance at 311.70, our healthy consolidation, our lower high with the inability to break the left side of the cup, that was at the high of today, 310, and now some healthy consolidation before a breakout. That is a potential pattern to be watching. I'm not saying that we are going to break out, but I'm saying that I have my eyes peeled for this breakout because of the DevCon event, the fundamental event, and the setup that we have on this chart. So it's not necessarily a good drawing on my part, but the psychology of the pattern is there. Our low of consolidation right now, we're zooming into the hourly time frame, and we're seeing that we are pulling back a decent amount. And it's frustrating for these ETH bulls because as Bitcoin breaks out and has all the fun at Blue Sky breakout, Litecoin is following, and Ethereum doesn't really have that correlation. Ethereum is like the redheaded stepchild of the big three recently because it really can't find its correlation. Sometimes it's correlated to the big three, like this morning when we were breaking out, then it lost the correlation as the other two kept running. So it's really hard to be trading or to be holding Ethereum. It's easier to be trading it, in my opinion, to capitalize on these short-term bull moves. Look at these bull moves. We had a huge move over 8 hours and then not a ton of follow through. And we had another huge move over 8 hours and not a ton of follow through. So there's short-term big bull spikes before longer-term drawn-out consolidation. And this is actually the hourly chart I'm on. So it's only 2 hours of bull action both times. So that's why it's ideal to trade Ethereum, in my opinion. I traded Ethereum for a small profit initially this morning. Then I flipped over to Litecoin, and then I flipped over to Bitcoin and went 3 for 3 trading profitable. Pretty easy day to do that in terms of, you know, everybody's going up in the morning. So really couldn't choose a loser in terms of bullish movement. But where we stand right now for Ethereum, we have to establish a support we're confident in. And at first it was at 303. We had a low of 303.28 and a low of 303.04. But since I've started this broadcast here, we have broken that. So that has changed, and we now have to find a new support level. It's 301.03 currently, but I zoom into the 15-minute time frame for more details, and I can see very, very clearly we have a lower high pattern on the 15-minute time frame, and I know the bulls are not going to do anything in terms of showing back up until we break this lower high pattern. So 308.45, 307.97, 307.50, 306.50 is just a clear lower high pattern, and now we have lower lows because we broke 300. Bulls have to show back up and break this lower high pattern, and you can see the bear volume has started to take over a bit more after it was all bull volume this morning. Looking for a bullish MACD cross on the 15-minute time frame as another potential indicator that the bulls are showing up, and the 5-minute RSI just saw an oversold bounce. Really nice quick bounce actually while I was talking. 301.03 would have gotten an oversold RSI indication. Actually, the 15-minute RSI has yet to hit oversold, but when we were down at the low, just above 300, that RSI was probably right at that 30 level. Either way, we have bounced now from 301.03 all the way up to 304. Need to see this shift in momentum because Ethereum right now, bulls are leaving and going to play Bitcoin and Litecoin, which are seeing more significant gains. So Litecoin, daily chart, and this is the TCG Cross, these indicators I have up right now. TCG Bull Cross is closing in if these bulls can get over the $58 range and up into the upper 50s. But right now I'm watching for a higher low. So we have our pullback on Litecoin. We hit 52.45 and 52.50, almost a double bottom. And now we have a higher low at 54. And the bulls need to see a clear break of 59.19 to go from lower highs and lower lows to a higher low and then a higher high. And if we break 59.19, we will certainly get a bullish TCG cross with it and a bullish MACD cross with it. And we are looking for the Litecoin bulls to show up with a little bit of this Bitcoin momentum. So the 4-hour time frame pulling back, excuse me, big upper wick of profit taking and pulling back right now. So we are in consolidation mode across the space. All of the big three are in consolidation. Bitcoin is the most healthy consolidation. Let's see this Litecoin hourly chart. Key support coming up, 56.10. If we lose 56.10, we lose the hourly higher low. So that's an important level for me personally. We can see that we had a bullish TCG cross on this hourly time frame back down at 54.50 before the run up to 57.96. And now we're watching for the potential of a bearish TCG cross, which will send out an alert if we see this cross back down and we lose the higher low pattern on the hourly. So key support 56.10. In terms of resistance, again, the 15-minute time frame is giving me the details I want. We have a lower high at 57.26, another lower high at 56.81, and I'm picking these lower highs out. Every time it looks like the bulls are attempting a move and get rejected, that's a lower high. So I wouldn't consider these lower highs because there's no real bull attempt. We're just trading sideways. Here's the bull attempt, and here's it getting crushed back down. So 57.26 is the lower high of resistance to be watching. That's the highest price we got to before the bears took back over. So we'll see if the bulls are able to hold this level, 56.10. If we break 56.10, that tells me more significant consolidation is coming and the bulls need to be a lot more patient. Otherwise, if we can hold this higher low, we can look for a potential entry and use that as our stop loss level. But as of right now, momentum is favoring the bears as we are consolidating on Bitcoin, we're consolidating on Ethereum, and we're consolidating on Litecoin. Right now on Ethereum, multiple inside bars on the 15-minute time frame, so the alert system will send out an alert when we break these 15-minute inside bars showing this tightening range. And again, Litecoin, all about 56.10 and 57.26 in the short term, and that's that channel that I just drew, and we're currently within that channel. So let's now get into some of these altcoins here. And people want to know when the altcoins are going to show back up. And I've been very adamant where I'm not a fan of going long in altcoins. And I know that's not really a popular opinion. If you've done a ton of research and you are fundamentally all for a project and you love the team and all that, by all means, put some in. It's a high risk, high reward play. Go with that investment, sure. But in terms of spreading things out, and if you want to invest in, 5, 10 altcoins and try and hit it big and try and hit the next, 100 or 1,000% runner, the odds are not in your favor. And I believe it was, I forget who it was, whether it was Charlie Lee or who posted recently that 90% of altcoins are going to fail. And I absolutely agree with that. There is the space is oversaturated with ICOs and altcoins, and it's not going to change. It's only going to be more extreme. And again, it's the same thing that I saw happen in the marijuana sector space, where we went from 6 companies to 300 companies, most of them doing nothing, and just a bunch of duds in terms of plays. So when is the altcoin space going to pick back up? Well, the altcoin space is driven by fundamentals and news. There is very little, technical analysis definitely plays a factor, but in terms of shifting of trends and significant bull moves and breakouts to all-time highs, it has to be fundamentally driven. Because right now we have so many altcoins, the funnel effect of money is gone. When you have 5 altcoins, you have a funnel effect on money. If you want to be in an altcoin, you have to choose between these 5 names. Now, if you want to put money in an altcoin, you have to choose between these 3,000 names or whatever it is. So the funnel effect of money, which is very powerful for running these cryptocurrencies, is now gone. We don't have that anymore. That's why this summer was so special with so much money coming in and a limited number of coins in terms of names that people actually knew about. And now they're exploding up everywhere in terms of the numbers. So like I said, fundamentals is a huge part, and so is the price of Bitcoin. We need Bitcoin to slow down, and we need Bitcoin to not be hitting all-time highs for people to look to put their money elsewhere. It's the same thing in the stock market. The stock market in 2017 has been jaw-droppingly insane in terms of strength. As long as the stock market is on absolute fire, people aren't looking to put their money anywhere else. Gold is not doing anything because everybody has their money in the stock market and everybody is comfortable making gains. If we see the stock market pull back in a bear trend, we're going to be looking for money to move around elsewhere. And that's pretty much what the cryptocurrency space is hoping for, that stock market money is going to try and come in the cryptocurrency space when we enter a bear market. But we haven't had a bear market in 11 years and there is none in sight right now. So in terms of everybody having their money in Bitcoin, again, the comparison I'm making, you have your money in Bitcoin. You don't need to put it anywhere else. It's consistently giving you gains. If that is no longer the case, people are going to sell their Bitcoin and look to put it somewhere else in the cryptocurrency space, but there's no sign of that happening anytime soon. That's why I don't want any money in altcoins personally. If you think fundamental news is going to shoot the price up short term, by all means trade that and play that move. But like I said, you have to have hype and attention-grabbing headlines to get money to come into these altcoins at this stage of the game. So VTC, BTC is one of those names that has been breaking out and has been getting that attention. So the clear bull break occurred when we had, really, we started entering an uptrend. There's multiple times where it's changed, but most recently we had a high at 3875, and right now I'm looking at VTC, BTC on Bittrex. So we had our high at 3875, our lower high at 344, and as soon as we broke 344, that's when the bulls started to show up, and then the big volume picked up shortly after. And if you're using technical analysis and comfortable with these shifts in trends, breaking lower highs and lower lows, you can get head starts on these moves. You had 2 whole days when the break of resistance occurred before the bull volume and the real breakout started. So these 2 days right here, we broke the lower high pattern. Didn't see a lot of follow through, and then we saw huge gains, and now we're seeing follow through. So at this point, I would zoom into the 4-hour time frame to give me the details that I want to see, and we're seeing now lower highs and lower lows. We went from an equilibrium pattern after the initial breakout. We hit 799, hit a low of 423. So here's the start of our equilibrium pattern, and again, equilibrium patterns happen the most common time for them to happen is after breakouts or breakdowns. It's new price discovery. So we're entering a range of prices that we haven't been in recently, and we have to hit that equilibrium and find the price range. So here's our high and our low. We had our lower high. That was at 6.9. We had our higher low at 5. And it's just getting tighter and tighter. And as soon as we break 6.9, that's a bull break of the equilibrium pattern. And then we go breaking out to higher highs all the way up to 9.6. So there was another move over 50% once the equilibrium pattern broke, once the shift from lower highs and higher lows broke the lower highs. And then we saw increasing bull volume. Again, the volume climax signaling the top, inside bar, bear break of the inside bar. So in terms of exiting, the exit signal was 836 if using the inside bar. And we've been pulling back ever since then. So we're now entering a period of lower highs and lower lows. If I had a position in VTC, I would really want to see 663 hold. And that's because if this level, this little brief consolidation before continuation, that's a little bull flag that happened. But if that level breaks of the 663, the next support is down at 525 that stands out to me. 525 and 5 even. So I really want that level to hold if I have a position, and I don't currently. But that's the key level to maintain the strongest higher low pattern and to try and shift things around. But at this point, you can see how the bear volume has dominated the bull volume since we hit the volume climax. That's going to have to change for the bulls. Hourly time frame, clear lower highs and lower lows. No sign of the bulls showing back up. So I personally would not want to be in this position. And that 4-hour inside bar bear break is the same thing on the hourly time frame with more details. We went from our low, lower high, and we didn't form a higher low. We went right from a lower high to a lower low. That was the shift in momentum and the bear break of the 4-hour inside bar. So daily chart, very bullish overall, but we are in consolidation mode and we have not formed a convincing higher low yet on these other time frames. OMG USD is in a tightening pattern. I've got a downtrend resistance line here on the daily time frame. You can see how tight we are. But we've got clear lower highs. This is another one when the break of the trend is going to be very, very clear once it does occur. So here I'm looking at a lower high and not really a lower low pattern. We are building a base of support. So it is a descending triangle because we have a horizontal base of support. So I'm looking at 691. 691 is a double bottom. That's a must-hold level. If we break 691, we're looking at 650 and 608. So in order for the bulls to show up, we need to see a break of this most recent lower high at 871. And there's another little lower high mixed in here, this upper wick. I wouldn't use this as the clear signal, but it is a signal that you can use for a bit of a heads up or a head start. It's more risk and reward if you would make an entry on that break, but 810 breaking would indicate that we're likely to head up to 871. So on this pattern, this is the kind of trade where you have two options for making your entry. You don't want to just enter in the middle of this pattern because you're just going to be floating in air, so to speak, in terms of not having any clear support nearby. So the two scenarios for entry are entering in the low $7 range to have low risk and have a stop loss. If we break 691, you're out of the trade because that's a bear break. If you were to enter at, say, 750, that's a pretty big risk in terms of losing 60 cents before you get topped out. I would much rather enter at 720 and be risking 29 cents before I get stopped out. So the closer you can buy into a support, and that's what I call a bottom fishing play, but the closer you can buy into that support before getting stopped out, the less amount of risk you have. If you don't want to enter until we have bullish momentum, then you're waiting for a break of the lower high pattern. And again, that level is 871 for a clear break. And we look at the 4-hour time frame and can see we're still in consolidation mode with some lower highs and lower lows. Bulls just got a bull MACD cross on the 4-hour time frame. But again, it's such a clear pattern on the daily time frame. I would really be using this time frame and patiently waiting. I'd be trading other things and keeping an eye on this pattern and not trading it until I either got an entry really close to support or an entry on a break of the lower high pattern. So Bitcoin, here's another Bitcoin Cash, another perfect example of a clear break in a trend, a clear break of a lower high pattern, giving a signal to bulls and traders acting on it and seeing a run up. So we had our low of this pullback. After our all-time high, we've been in consolidation mode, pulling back for 2-3 months at this point. Nothing's been going on in BCH, very little trading opportunity. That has changed, and it gave a heads up initially. So we had a clear lower high, lower low pattern on the daily. Our low was 280, and then we formed a little higher low at 286. So now we start paying attention to a shift in momentum. And here, this candlestick, look at the volume spike. It was the highest volume that we had seen at that point in about a month and a half, almost 2 months. So that volume spike broke the lower highs. We had a little lower high at 375. As soon as we break that level, we know, okay, it's time to start paying attention to the bulls. And we didn't get a ton of follow through from that. We pulled back and consolidated for another week plus, but we formed another higher low at 297. Then the increasing bull volume started to show up. 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row of increasing bull volume and an all-out breakout, heading to higher highs. 3977 broke. We broke resistance of 485, and the next resistance is this little lower high at 549. We topped out at 522.95, and this is our temporary top, and I can call it a temporary top because we have a big upper wick of profit taking and we have a volume climax. Look at the amount of volume we saw compared to the second highest volume day on the bull move. That's more than double. So the odds that we're going to see more volume the next day and have it not be a volume climax are very, very, very low. So the upper wick combined with the volume climax tells me this bull move is done for now. Now we're going to consolidate and form a higher low, and I can confidently say we're going to form a higher low, especially on this daily chart, because anything above 297 is a higher low. So we're patiently waiting for a new higher low. This is healthy 4-hour consolidation at this point on declining volume. You could make the argument that this is a bull flag, but one thing that has me cautious about that is the upper wicks. There's a lot of profit taking still going on. And you have to figure psychologically what's going on, because you have a lot of people making a lot of money on the bull run, and then very quickly we hit our top, and everybody's saying, oh man, I missed selling in the 500s, and now we're back down at 460. And then we make another bull move up to 495 and 492. And every time we make that move, that's people that missed their initial exit saying, oh, thank goodness, I got a second chance to get out. I'm going to take my profit now. So we have big upper wicks forming. The hourly time frame is showing us our low of consolidation, lower high, and now a lower low. Support was 438, and we just hit 435. So it's not a very clear, significant bear break, but the bears do have momentum right now in consolidation mode. Next support, if we break 435, I'm going to be looking down here at 400 psychological because we built a support there on the way up. And there's another way that psychological levels continue to come into play. And right now, Consolidation mode for BCH, it's worth watching the daily time frame for another higher low to form, but we are a ways away from that happening in my opinion. And if we do break this 438 level and 435, that tells me be patient, further consolidation is coming, need to be confident that a higher low is being established. CVC, this is CVC USD on Bittrex. So here on the daily time frame, it's pretty similar to the OMG setup that we just looked at, with some clear lower highs and a horizontal base of support building. Support is 245, and then we hit a low of 26. So there is a higher low already formed. One thing I really don't like is the upper wicks here. Again, it shows a lot of profit taking. Every bull move is getting squashed back down, and that really shows a lack of liquidity in the sense that there's not a lot of coins on the bid and the ask. So a little bit of buying pressure moves the price up significantly, but then people want to lock in that profit and it knocks the price right back down because they have to, any selling at the bid is not really able to absorb that selling pressure and it goes right back down. So we have resistance at 4.1 and 4.38. So clear lower highs to be watching until we see closes at the highs. Look at this bull move before we broke out here. We had closes at the highs without very significant upper wicks. And here was another strong close that led to continuation. Once we start seeing strong closes on these candlesticks, then that tells us there's not as much profit taking and people are holding their positions. Whenever I see upper wicks, that tells me people are not holding their positions and they're locking in profit. So the 4-hour time frame, we can see a clear higher low. Again, we do have some higher lows to be watching. We're close to a breakout, a little bit of a double top, it looks like 375, 375. So that is the clear level now. If we break 375, that's a bullish signal. If we break these lows of 2.9, that's a bearish signal. That is our channel to be watching on this 4-hour time frame. And here we are smack dab in the middle of it. So to touch back on a previous point I made, I would not want to be making a bullish entry right now. I'm right in the middle, floating in the middle of support and resistance. Again, we would drop down significantly before I would want to get stopped out because anything above this level is still a higher low. I would still want to be in that trade at that point. And in terms of resistance, we're a ways away from resistance and not really seeing much bullish momentum. So I don't want an entry right here. I could make an entry on a break of this 4-hour inside bar pattern forming. We have one inside bar. We're forming our second inside bar. So that would be an indication that I could act on. But in terms of buying while we're in sideways consolidation, not really ideal. You want to be buying either close to a key support level to get stopped out without a lot of risk or after a key break of resistance. Last, we got IOTA USD on, this is Bitfinex. So again, you can tell that the similar patterns on these altcoins where they're all, forming these lower highs, not really as clear a horizontal base of support here on IoT, but as you've seen these charts that we've pointed out, a lot of them are very similar, and it's due to the correlation with everybody focused on Bitcoin and just fading these bull moves because there's a lack of bullish action with all the attention elsewhere. And again, the only way to garner that attention with these altcoins, fundamentals, hype, and I cannot tell you how many emails that I get every single week. I would say I get 3 to 4 ICO promotional emails a week with people saying, hey, we like your cryptocurrency channel. Tell your audience about our ICO. We'll give you discounted coins. We'll give you this. We'll give you these perks. But we need you to help us advertise to people that are interested in cryptos. And that's just them knowing that these YouTube channels have a lot of traders that follow them and that's going to be their best way to reach an audience trying to get people to buy their coins. I'm never going to do that. It's not what our channel does. We're about technical analysis. I'm never going to promote an ICO. I don't care what they'll try and give me because it doesn't feel right. It feels, like I'm being paid to try and get other people to buy something that I myself am probably not going to buy. So the point being, these altcoins are struggling for attention in this space, and they better have the fundamentals to back up the attention or they're going to wither away into nothing. So IoT, we've got our higher low now. Support is down at 319. Our higher low is 367, and we have to break these lower highs. Again, 509 and a lower high at 506. So almost a double top right there. That is the clear resistance level to break the lower highs, and the bulls must maintain these higher lows. So there is a bit of a shift underway. The fact that we do have a higher low for the first time in quite some time and a bullish reversal candlestick on the daily, we have to see follow through. and this candlestick is just starting to form, so there's still plenty of time left. Must confirm this candlestick and head back up to 509 resistance. Looking at more details on the 4-hour, I can see there's the support that the bulls need to form a higher low compared to. I can see the 4-hour time frame has a clear lower high pattern that has to break. So you can see the more details you get. Step number 1 for the bulls to turn this around is break the 4-hour lower highs from 415. That would be a great start. It wouldn't do anything on the daily time frame to breaking the downtrend here. So breaking the 4-hour downtrend is step number 1. Then you have to zoom out to the daily time frame and say, okay, now what's the next level on the daily that needs to break? And that's that 506 and 509 resistance. So until we break the lower high pattern on the 4-hour, and it does look like we're going to do that soon. And the reason I say that is look at this volume and look at this bullish reversal candlestick. And we didn't confirm it. We're seeing inside bars and sideways consolidation, but that's the most bullish candlestick that we've seen on any of this consolidation. So if the bulls are going to be able to break this lower high at any point, this is their most likely chance to do so because of the bull volume backing this move up and because the bullish MACD cross is so close to following through. So I look at the hourly time frame for some more details. I see a significant bounce, need to follow through and break 415 as step number 1 for the bulls to show up. So again, as you can see on every analysis that I just did, I start at the longer term time frames and I zoom in step by step for more and more details. And by the end of it, I have way more information than I would gather just on the daily chart alone. So I look at the daily, the 4-hour, the hourly, the 15-minute, and if I'm actively trading it, the 15-minute and the hourly are going to hold a lot of weight in my decisions. If I'm swing trading it, it's the daily and the 4-hour time frame that are going to hold the most weight. And I would look at the shorter term time frame to try and pinpoint entries and exits. But as far as, wanting to get, one thing that a lot of people do is they get caught up in time frames that aren't relevant to their trades. If you enter a trade and you're looking to swing trade, and then you're letting the 15-minute time frame action scare you out of that trade, maybe have you sway from your game plan, that's not an ideal scenario. If you're using a swing trade, you want the daily action and the 4-hour chart action to be what tells you whether to sell or stay in the trade. The short-term action is nice for some short-term details, but you want to be focusing in on the time frame that is most pertinent to the style of trade that you're entering. And again, we must have a game plan for every single trade that we enter. We must know our entry level, our stop loss level, and our sell target. And what that allows us to do is to calculate risk and reward. If I'm looking for a $1 move on Litecoin, but my stop loss level is $2 away, I'm risking $2 to try and make $1. That's backwards. That is higher risk than reward. I want there to be $2 of reward before we hit the next resistance and $1 before I would get stopped out. So that's my spiel for the night. I appreciate you all tuning in on your Sunday evening with us. We'll be back as always with our daily videos. We'll continue to update the cryptocurrency alert system. Again, finding it really useful ourselves and using it with our members and trying to continue to create our indicators that we act on, the things that I see on the chart that tells me when to get into a position or out of a position, and translating that so a robot can tell us when that can happen. And again, if you comment on this recorded video, we'll give away some ETH. Just put in all you have to do is put in your ETH address, and I'm going to randomly select a couple people and send that ETH out. And I appreciate all of your time, and we will see you in the near future.